Thank you very much for having me here this morning to address you all on your 60th anniversary, Diamond anniversary. Indeed, you've come a long, long way. Congratulations, congratulations. I know I've heard it was not an easy journey, but you've made it. And your presence here this morning, reinforces your commitment, dedication, and passion to the job that you do. And I, on behalf of the government and behalf of the ministry, I thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, a special welcome to all of you who have traveled out of Suva to be here this morning. Thank you very much. I know Saturday morning, or Saturday especially, we keep it aside for our marketing, our shopping, and our family time. But again, you being here this morning is wonderful, and I thank you for that. Thank you, Chaplain, for your wonderful and beautiful words. I'm always blessed and in awe of the beautiful words of scriptures that you deliver to our people. Thank you very much, and we wish you a long and a healthy life, and I look forward to hearing from you in future as well. Thank you very much. And again, a big congratulations once again on behalf of the Ministry of Health and myself and my peers and the team for your perseverance and dedication to the noble profession such as nursing, which surely comes with a lot of responsibilities and expectations. And like I said, coming this far is indeed an achievement. Thank you for that. We started another trend when we celebrated the World Health Day. And we said it's always better to ask the person next to you, whether at your workplace, whether in your home, whether in the bus, in the taxi, are you okay? So I'd like you to ask the person sitting next to you. Thank you. Now, one of the reasons, see the excitement, so beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons why that is important, it's very important to know the person next to you is okay. But we need to be okay ourselves to deliver the task that is ahead of us. Many a times, that is not taken in consideration. So please, if you, while you are traveling, while you are at home, in your workplace, spare a few seconds and ask the person that sits next to your table or the person who walks by you and say, are you okay? We are trying to promote mental health. We need to be mentally stable to carry out the tasks that is put in. And if I look across the room, I see a lot of ladies, a lot of women, and you can understand the pressures that life puts on us, the challenges, the expectations that is expected out of us just because we are women. It's just mammoth. And topped with that, the job that you do, looking after the health and the well-being of our Fijian people, I think that's an added responsibility. And I'm glad you chose to be part of this profession. I come from the education sector, but I'm not just not when I joined the government that I'm aware of the work that civil servants do with nurses, teachers, doctors. We have a lot on our plates, okay? So again, let me thank you for that. And I'd also like to thank the Fiji Nursing Association for its strong leadership in nurturing this collaborative networking and partnership with my ministry to enhance the development of nursing and nurses in Fiji. Coming back to your theme, ladies and gentlemen, nurses are voiced to lead. Achieving the Sustainable Development Goals demonstrates the importance of nursing workforce in the development of Fiji. This AGM, I'm sure, is going to be a great platform to raise awareness, firstly, amongst the nursing profession of what Sustainable Development Goals are and why they matter, and secondly, amongst the population, governments, and other decision makers of the contribution you nurses are already making to achieve the SDGs and basically the best way forward. Ladies and gentlemen, to further elaborate on your theme, Sustainable Development Goals were adopted by the United Nations in 2015 to build on the Millennium Development Goals. We have 17 SDGs that cover a broad range of sustainable development issues of the world, such as ending poverty and hunger, combating climate change, and improving health and education. The 191 UN member country states have agreed to work towards these goals and achieving these goals by 2030. And health has a central place in the SDG, and SDG 3 being ensure healthy lives and promoting well-being for all ages. Clearly, nursing and nurses have a major role to play in relation to our SDG Goal 3. But the work of the nurses, ladies and gentlemen, also has a major impact on the delivery of other SDGs. And if I may say, SDG 1, ending poverty in all its form everywhere, SDG 4, ensure inclusive and quality education for all, and promote lifelong learning, and SDG 10, reduce inequality within and among countries. Factors such as poverty, education, and inequality are known to have a significant impact on health. They are often termed as social determinants of health, defined as the conditions in which people are born, people grow up, work, and live. So the work of nurses frequently involves addressing not just injury and illness at the individual level. Much of what you do affects and is affected by the broader social determinants of health. You are all aware, as nurses, you are the primary providers of health care to all communities in all settings, and you are the key to the achievement of the SDGs. In fact, if investments in the nursing profession is not made by governments and world leaders, we all will struggle to meet our 2030 target for SDGs. The SDGs are relevant to all of us in our professional lives and our personal lives. Each one of you is making an impact, and nurses, you should celebrate your achievements, share your stories, and use your voices to lead. So, can we all put it up for the nurses in Fiji? Now you may ask, why should nurses care about SDGs? You may still be asking about yourself about how contributions to SDGs can make a difference. But there are several reasons why you and all nurses should care about the SDGs. You go into a profession to improve the health of individuals and populations, and this is the fundamental to the core of nursing. As nurses, you therefore should rightly be concerned about where children are born, where people grow, where they live, where they walk, and where they age. The underlying dynamics, ladies and gentlemen, in all of this is one of social justice. You should all learn about and contribute to the SDG because it is the right thing to do. You can prevent child and maternal deaths. You can end extreme poverty. You can improve the quality of life, and you can ensure that children are fit and healthy enough to attend school. You can end violence and oppression, and you can end justice. The SDGs presents us with an opportunity to apply the knowledge you have as nurses to create a better, a healthier, and a better world. Under the MDGs, the world saw incredible improvements in increased life expectancy, reduced child mortality, getting more children into schools, reducing extreme poverty, and improving access to safe water and sanitation. Whilst there might be skepticism about the ambitious targets set in SDGs, the MDGs have demonstrated to us that progress is possible, and countless people's lives will benefit as a result. So SDGs don't just relate to people in low-income countries, they affect us all. The realization of these targets will improve the lives of people in our communities, our families, and even our own health. In Goal 3, ladies and gentlemen, good health and well-being, the Millennium Development Goals showed that gains can be made in development and health and outcomes. However, we are starting to see new challenges. For the first time, the global population over the age of 60 will be more than the population of children under 5. We are also seeing a shift from rural areas, with more than half the world's population now living in urban centers. These new demographic features are changing health profiles and challenges, and I'm sure you are encountering that in your daily walk. So today, for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, in history, non-communicable diseases have overtaken infectious diseases as the leading causes of mortality across the world, and Fiji is no different. Economic growth, modernization, and urbanization have opened wide the entry point for the spread of unhealthy lifestyles. While many health systems have been designed to meet the needs of acute infections, the changing profile of diseases means that those same systems are not prepared to manage, requiring long-term and sometimes lifelong care. So while we can say progress is being made in health, there are still marked differences in life expectancy and quality of life between countries and even within countries. Therefore, the notion to maintain nursing support in achieving the SDGs cannot be overemphasized. All in all, our major frontline health professionals, nurses, have got to accept that you play such a pivotal role in the achievement of the health-related and health-associated SDGs. Therefore, as nurses, you should be that leading voice to proclaim the way forward in achieving these SDGs. I strongly believe that nurses are well and strategically placed to map out the best possible way to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. With nursing members and their wide distribution across the globe, nurses are among the best resources available to work towards achieving these goals. It is often said that charity begins at home. And I think we should also argue that action to achieve the SDGs should also begin at home and here in Fiji. While we talk about SDGs, ladies and gentlemen, and nurses' contributions to global development, we must continue to focus on our own issues and priorities. During my short term as a Minister for Health and Medical Services, I've seen on many examples the wonderful work done by nurses, often in most difficult and demanding circumstances. And for that, I thank you once again most sincerely. However, at the same time, I have also been disturbed by occasional lapses which can all too easily put your profession's fine reputation in jeopardy, and I think we need to accept that. Nursing is too often described as a caring profession, but I sometimes hear from the public who have encountered a nurse whose attitude and approach was all too obviously not very caring. I hear reports of nurses who were rude, abrupt, unhelpful, and simply just couldn't be bothered to take the time to communicate clearly and carefully with the patient. And I'm sure you'll agree with me on that too. So let us be clear of one thing this morning. Let us start fresh. I was very impressed with the pledge of the nurses. So let us be clear on this. I understand the stresses you face in your daily work. I know that patients can sometimes be very rude and ungrateful. And I'm sure that patients and families sometimes make unreasonable demands or have unrealistic expectations. I'm sure we'll agree to that as well, okay? And I know that you are too often working under pressure in a busy ward or clinic. Let's accept that as well. And I realize that it can often be difficult to be calm in caring in such circumstances. We'll agree to that as well. But, dear nurses, I ask you of one thing this morning. I ask you not to allow your patients and families to push you to the point where you show anger and intolerance. I ask you to do that. I know it may not be easy, but as professional nurses, I ask you to rise above such behavior to maintain a polite, helpful behavior, even when you face the most awkward and argumentative patient or family member. I ask you to do that this morning. As nurses, I ask you to be the circuit breaker who steps in to prevent people losing their temper. I'm sure we all know how hard it can be to be angry. But I ask you to dissolve that situation with a smile. If someone shouts back at you, I ask you not to shout back, but smile back calmly and explain the situation patiently with a smile. The beautiful smiles that you have been giving me this morning. I ask you to do just that. On most occasions, I'm sure you will be able to diffuse the situation and prevent it from escalating. I ask you to diffuse the situation and just that. I know it's not easy, but it is what your patients and what your profession expects of you. As professionals, I ask you to exhibit both professional knowledge and professional behavior at all times, and I ask just that. In today's connected world, ladies and gentlemen, it is all too easy for an isolated case of a poor professional behavior to be filmed and posted, which you are all aware, and shared around the country and across the globe. I ask us to ensure that no such situation arises where a bad reputation is brought about to the good work that you do. And I ask just that. I'm concerned also that policies that ban the inappropriate use of cameras in our hospitals and health centers may not always be actively enforced. And I call upon all senior nurses to ensure that they are. And the public is made aware of that, the reasons behind this. It's very important to communicate the reasons behind these things. Unfortunately, at many times, communication gaps are there, and the public and the patients, the families are not aware as to why we are enforcing such regulations. And I ask you to communicate with your patients and your family. And do advise them that patient confidentiality will always be given a priority. But the sad reality, ladies and gentlemen, is we are all too vulnerable to being the next talking point on the social media. You and I both. Okay? which makes it more important always to be aware of how our behavior would be seen by others, including those who may not be fully aware, of the circumstances at the time the incident happened, at the time the picture was taken, or at the time when the video was filmed. People are not aware. So I ask that we do not create such a situation where we put ourselves and our profession at that risk. I asked you for that. And once you are aware something is out there, no amount of explanation or justification will undo the harm that is already done. Now I have to say our profession, because your profession is my profession as well. Okay? And it does, indeed it does. It brings about traumatic experience. I am traumatized by that, and I'm sure you are also traumatized. But we will not play the defensive game, let me tell you today. We will and we shall not play the defensive game defending our behaviors and our attitudes when it relates to our work. So I ask us not to allow such a situation. Keep your calm, keep your cool, and keep that beautiful nurse's smile on your beautiful faces at all times. And I'm sure that will be of great assistance to us. Let us bring back the image, the Nightingale image that nurses had. And I'm sure we all can do that. And I ask you to assist us getting that back for all of us. While again on the topic of social media, ladies and gentlemen, I feel I must also remind you of the ministry's policy, which makes 3 very clear points. 1, staff should give careful consideration to the nature of work-related material that you post on social media or any online service. Social media should not be used to make comments on the ministry and our operations. Materials which refer to or contains images of patients and other users of ministry services must not be shared via social media. I've asked my peers to circulate the social media policy that the ministry has to all the senior managers so that you also are aware of that. Okay? So social media is a wonderful tool. I think most of our life is just concentrated around that. We want to know what's happening. It's a wonderful tool, but that tool has to be handled with care, especially when it comes to our professional work. And I've just said, and I've just asked you not to fight fire with fire. Let us not fight fire with fire. Okay? When dealing with angry or offensive behavior, I again remind you not to re-engage in a debate or a discussion on social media. Let us do that. Let us do that. Okay? We are there to do it for you. But again, I remind you, do not create a situation, because I've made it very clear, we will not play the defensive game. Okay? We will present facts as it is, because we are dealing with a very emotional ministry, a very emotional workplace. Emotions are there. It's a life and death situation. And sometimes we've got to understand why families react to that, because it's a matter of life and death. So we will do all we can do. Okay? So if you do respond to such critics on social media, remember you may be deemed to be in the breach of our social media policy, and you may be liable for disciplinary actions. So I strongly believe that in many cases our concerns may reflect issues of attitude and culture amongst our nursing fraternity. Sometimes I also get reports where nurses complain of not behaving appropriately within each other. We have rude nurses I hear senior nurses being rude or abrupt to junior nursings. And sometimes I hear cases where junior nurses are not receptive to advice from the senior nurses. I'll let you to deal with that on your, even that shouldn't go out. It's an issue for your senior managers to deal with, okay? It's always a good thing to listen to the younger generation, I believe that. Normally we are onto too much of a top-down decision policy. Okay, I say you do. I don't believe in that. Okay? You've got to sit and listen. Sometimes the younger voices have much to share. They have new ideas, new innovations. So let's all work together in that. Sometimes these behaviors, if portrayed in front of the public or the patients, can also damage your reputation as well. And sometimes these behaviors can just spread across all facilities and become the norm. We don't want that. So if we are not friendly, calm and caring in our own relationships within our workforce and within our colleagues, regardless of the hierarchy, then I'm sure these attitudes flow down to the patients, and I ask you not to do that. I do not want you to form a view that I'm unfairly criticizing you. I've already said you do a wonderful work, but these gaps need to be addressed, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, we will continue to be plagued by this negativity that is suddenly taking the ministry by storm. Okay? So I fully acknowledge the wonderful that you do, and your work is smiling examples of proud profession that you are, and that is why it's important for us to work together. And we do not allow occasional lapses to damage or distort our reputation. And again, if I may say, I greatly value the work of the association in promoting their reputation and advocating for the nurses' interest, but I'd also like to plead with the association, let us again not play the defensive game. I know you're there to protect the rights of your workers, appreciate it, but we also need to rise above this and see where we need to go from here. I also believe that your levels of energy and commitment, coupled with excellent leadership and a strong voice on the part of the association, nurses really do have the potential to help us build a better Fiji and a better world. From your daily interactions with patients at the bedside to your support for the ambitious goals to the SDGs, you nurses are really the change that the world needs. And you really are the change that our people need. So I'm sorry if I bored you with that, but I really wanted this opportunity to put my views forward to you. Okay? If I have sounded a bit harsh or critical, you've got to understand the hat I'm wearing at the moment. But if you meet me across the corridor in one of your hospitals, I will be one of you. But certain rules and certain principles we need to be clear about as to how we want our ministry to progress. It's not my ministry, it's our ministry. And in my first engagement, Director Nursing would agree, I said, you nurses are the face and the heart of my ministry. And I stand by that. Okay? So with these words, I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful conference. And congratulations once again to coming this far. And I wish and pray that the good Lord takes this association to the next 60 years. So thank you and congratulations once again.